they probably receive a lot more love and attention from their parents. Stats, right? If there's a lot of you, the parents can't really give you all the love and attention. And you add the fact that it's a more individualistic culture today and say that, oh, if they don't like the pay, they just quit. Their parents are probably telling them it's not worth it. So they just quit and wait until they find what they want. And of course, some of them do, and some of them are still waiting.
Okay, welcome back to Yamcha Sessions, VeryFastOne VFO. Today is the 1st of November. Wow.
What's buzzing?
Wow, 1st November 2024. Welcome back, Chester.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, what will we be discussing about today, MJ? Please enlighten.
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
So the article that inspired me to talk about this was that in the US, Gen Zs are getting fired at an alarming rate.
Okay.
Not quite quitting, but outright fire.
Rising.
Yes.
Okay.
I will put up the article later on, but in essence, it's a combination of several things. I think one is in response to how Gen Z has a lot more emphasis on work-life balance.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everyone here is Gen Y, right? Everyone's born above 1997 here, right? So
Wait, under 1997.
above
Above.
1997. We are all. So Gen Z is like
So the cutoff is at 1997.
about there. Some people dispute. Some people say 2000, but typically if you Google, it's about 1997.
Oh, okay.
So, I want everyone's experience on working with Gen Z. There are many aspects to a Gen Z, but let's start with this whole thing about work-life balance. Is that something that you come across when you meet and work with Gen Zs? First of all, does everyone here work with Gen Zs?
I do.
I do.
I used to, yeah.
I worked with Gen Z out of Malaysia as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can see like this common denominator type of thing. Because I work with temp staff outstation also, like in Singapore, Japan, all that.
Oh,
So,
I train Gen Zs too. Now I think about it.
so there is a lot of interaction
I have
for
friends
me.
who have kids who are Gen Zs.
No, that's Gen Alpha already, right?
No.
Oh, so your friends are like,
Gen X are probably.
wow.
So we start with Chester. You are in auditing, right? So one thing very interesting is that auditing has a steady stream of applicants. Literally every year you don't skip a year pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think you are in some ways the most qualified to answer in your field.
Because you have to understand that auditing, right, it's a very, very demanding and also time-consuming work. So we hire lots of fresh grads. We hire like every quarter, or in fact every quarter itself, right? We bring in new fresh grads. We want to train them and everything. But the point is, right, when we train them, we expect them to have this satisfaction that, okay, I'm learning new things. I'm actually understanding this, and I'm training the whole process and wanting to build something from there. But based on my experience with them so far, I recently found out that they have this tendency to just, I'm not being paid this much.
Yeah.
I'm only being paid this amount, so I'll do what I'm supposed to be doing.
So let's put some numbers to it, right? What's the starting for your company?
Back then, when I first started, as a staff assistant 1, if I'm not wrong, it was 3.2.
Wow.
Okay.
When you started.
Yeah.
No, like today.
Like today, if I'm not wrong, I don't know the rough figures because I already left the Big Four. If I'm not wrong, fresh grads is about close to 3.8 to 4.
Right. So and then when they complain that it's not enough, usually what they're asking for. Just give us a sense.
Yeah, because the thing is, you have to understand Big Four and audit Big Four, right? So you tend to work overtime, like it's really demanding till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning.
Good Lord.
Weekends. And then they expect you to kind of want to pay them overtime. Which then again, understandably that our business, our nature of business in Malaysia, right? We tend to do a lot of SME customers. So generally the audit fees aren't exactly super high. You can't say it's super high. So there's a cap there. So when you want to claim for OT, you kind of need approval as well. So there was a rule of thumb that if you cannot sustain it, don't. You cannot apply for OT. Yeah. So some people, I guess they are a bit more flexible. Let's say if you're doing a listed company, then your listed company has a bit more of a higher buffer. So then people tend to get, okay, maybe you can take 1 day, you can take 1 day. Not 1 day, few hours max.
Wow. This is Big Four.
Yeah, this is a Big Four. But I left Big Four like 3 years ago. So from what I heard is that they have already abolished it.
Oh shit! So you don't even get jack.
Yeah. But I heard from other Big Four that they do get time off.
Okay lah, if you can ganti 1 day, I call it.
So it's off in lieu.
Yeah.
Better than pizza parties lah, I guess.
Yeah. Time is money, man.
But I guess they are confident, right? Because
Yeah, they are. I would say when they come in right off the bat, they tell you what they already know because technically they are more intact with knowledge. I mean, it's like they are totally tech savvy. So whatever they know, whatever they read, it's all through social media, through internet itself.
Yep.
okay.
I think they're pretty fast. It's just that they don't want to deal with the tiresome part, the tediousness of working in a job.
Yeah.
They come in and then they apply the knowledge that they had, and then they thought that okay, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the hard work.
So my peers are saying that they are literally glass cannon. They're good, but they're super fragile.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit of a touch me not when you tell them something, and then you tell them a bit more stern.
Oh, cannot.
Maybe like, just fuck this shit.
But isn't it fair with all of us, when we are young? I don't see this as a generational thing, but rather I see it as more like people being in their 20s, coming into the workforce and, facing all this brand new stuff that they've not faced before.
So what is common that you're suggesting? That
No, it's
the stern voices or the reaction?
No, it's like just maturity. We're being 20s, you finish your uni, you've been painted with like
This
idea that you're smart, you graduate degree, you come out work, your ideas should be heard, But the reality is that you come in to a new workplace, especially when you're new, and everything that you have learned actually may not be that good, and you don't have the stamina or the the acumen in working, beyond your working hours, having empathy that okay, despite the fact that I'm being paid this much, but actually you need to complete this job. But I think everybody who is in their 20s, they're not used to this idea yet. So I actually feel that I don't think this is just exclusive to Gen.
But you don't quit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have.
I stood by the Big Four for 6 years.
Because the question now is they quit. So I think we all feel the same thing, like what you say.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong for our generation. I don't think we quit. I mean, I've been screamed at. Everyone here has been screamed at by their bosses
Bro,
before.
I've been slapped, bro.
Oh,
You've been slapped.
wow.
A Maggie has been thrown at me, bro.
I've been screamed at.
I've been
not really
told
been.
in a very, very stern and humiliating emails before.
Okay.
Nah,
Yourself?
Not really though. Not really though.
I think I've been through fire lah.
Okay lah.
So, but
Yeah.
But
I
it-
quit
has
the
that-
first time. Then after I didn't quit.
you quit after the Maggie incident, is it or what?
I quit. I think the first job, I also, advertising is that Big Four type of thing as
Okay,
well.
yeah.
It's quite similar. So I worked in a really big company. Then after that, 6 months, I can't tahan.
But what couldn't you tahan?
Wow. 3 a.m., 4 a.m. nights. Then after the next morning, 9 a.m.
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
Then I cannot tahan. After 2 months, I couldn't take it. I was sleeping in the parking lot, bro, from 7 to 9. And this is not, I was living off gas station food for like 2 months. Then this is not going to work out, man.
I've quit in my first 2 jobs, man. But purely because I have no idea what am I doing.
Oh,
So it's sort of like I got a job, then work 6 months into it. It's like actually, what am I doing here? I
Okay.
decided to quit.
Wow, that
But you've
sucks.
never left because you're not being paid enough or the hours are too long.
It was purely because like I really have no idea what am I doing here.
There's no self.
I
Fulfillment.
haven't found myself yet.
Right.
And being so young at 21 years old, I know nuts.
But back to Chester has shared his experience with Gen Z, which is mainly they in a way they know what they're worth. So if you don't pay them the amount, they quit.
Yeah.
For yourself, I have a theory about that, but later on.
Okay.
But for yourself, working and training Gen Zs, right? How has your experience been?
I think when it comes to training Gen Zs, right? Gen Zs are really fast and hardworking at learning.
Adaptable.
adaptable when it comes to learning, picking things up. But when it comes to working, I think there's two difference. Like on one hand, right, there's this one Gen Z that I've worked with. She has this fancy accent, and then she comes from a well-off school, and then she has a good reputation among her peers. But as soon as she got into a job, she was purely lazy. She doesn't want to do the hard work. Meanwhile, there's another Gen Z who I've interviewed, and I say that, hey, I've heard that you are actually not too recommended, but still you're here in an interview. I can, hire you, but I'm not so sure if you are going to be working hard. Then after that, that person came in, worked the hardest that I've ever seen.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah, it's a reverse
Boss
psychology.
Mr. Vincent.
Yeah, maybe he's like trying to get my approval.
Maybe you gotta win your heart over lah.
Maybe, yeah. So there's a difference. I think then what I'm theorizing is that Gen Z just want a good challenge, a really good challenge. And they're not used to the idea of getting into a job where you're supposed to work every single day without really, much meaning.
Mine quite 50-50 lah. I think 50% can just fong fake it straight away. They just don't turn up. And I've worked with I've worked with temp staff that get paid like maybe $200, $150 a day type of thing. And I work with like people who get like 3-4K or so on. Right? So locally in Malaysia, you have the two. One is the fong fake it straight, and then the other one is the work hard one. So basically, I've seen both.
This one you're talking about like in events, is it?
Overall, like I work with clients too.
Oh.
That type of thing. So I think it's quite 50-50 down the line. But this is basically what I observe, right? So it's either they just suddenly quit. It's either fong fake it or they resign after 2 months. I'm like, wow, so fast. That type of thing. Or they're very committed. They go beyond. They really like, I found a way to do it. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think about it.
That's one good thing about Gen Zs, which is like
resourceful.
Very resourceful.
Yeah. And then abroad, I think it's quite similar as well. It's either they, context also, I worked overseas, but this is only with temp staff. And the temp staff, they all don't want to commit to full-time jobs because they feel as if like it's not worth it. I'd rather have my freedom. So I don't mind working, but I prefer to allocate the time, which I see very common now. I think during, I'm going to sound like an old fuck lah, right? But Gen Y, they want the stability more.
Really?
I feel, at least the Gen X to Gen Y transition, I would consider myself a bit more conservative lah. So I like the consistency of like a salary that comes in and all that, right? Versus nowadays, I think a lot of people prefer the freedom. Like I prefer to like project basis. And some Gen Ys have shifted to Gen X also. So I think Gen Z is just very evident, especially overseas. They don't want to take full-time job, not worth it.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Actually, if you think about it, like working right now in jobs doesn't make any much sense,
Yeah. Because you have to find the sale or you have to. So I think it's so staggering. I'm sorry, I'm extending this. It's either you get consistent or you have to keep on going.
Yeah.
Project basis. Because the moment you say no, I think it's very hard to get the next project.
Yeah.
For myself, I think when it comes to Gen Z, out of 3, 1 bad, 2 good. So I think they're a bit more independent in the way they think, which is just a sign of the times, right? If you look at a scale and you start with, let's say, silent generation, then boomer, X, Y, Z, there's a increasing amount of individualism. So people who are Gen X are more individualistic than boomers, or boomers are more, collective. And we are more individualistic compared to our parents or our older brothers and sisters, who are 10, 15 years older. And you can see the same trend with Gen Z. So that's one thing that is an aspect about them, which is actually neutral, because I feel like if you get the right person and give him the right tools, then he can figure things out by himself. Sort of similar to what you guys are saying. But if you have a task or you have something that you need them to do, if they have an independent mind, they just don't want to do it, right? So there's the commonality. But of the 3, the one that didn't quite work out for me was someone who wanted money. And I think this is the biggest, you can say, criticism of Gen Z, is that they don't see, what's the word? They cannot differentiate what is valuable in the first 10 years of their career, which is knowledge, experience, network on one side.
It's your XP bar, bro. It's the XP bar.
You don't believe in that, I think.
And it's money, right? So they have 2, and a lot of them are going for money first. And so that's why if they don't go for money, or rather, if they're not paid enough, then they just quit, which is something that you
I
guys
think
are
they
saying.
have a very high expectations of what
Yeah.
they want in life.
Yeah, but they haven't like you said, they haven't charged up their the energy. You know,
yeah, bro.
This is a Pokemon analogy, right?
You have to start.
They want to
somewhere.
attack, right?
Yeah, they just want to straight away start
Yeah.
from the very.
And to be fair, I think a lot of Gen Ys are like that as well.
Okay.
They are always
Fair enough.
comparing their starting pay, as you remember, right?
yeah.
That this is like
Fair enough.
Yeah.
7, 8, 10 years ago. Everyone's trying to
Trying to one.
wow, the guy has
I need
7K
to be
starting pay. you know.
higher.
So, anyways, I want to read the article that inspired this. I'm just going to zoom through a little bit. The article is by Yahoo Finance, and I want everyone's reaction, right? Bosses are firing Gen Z grads just months after hiring them. Here's what they say needs to change. After complaining for the better part of 2 years that Gen Z grads are difficult to work with, bosses are no longer all talk, no action. They are rapidly firing them. Okay, according to a new report, 6 in 10 employers say they have already sacked some of the Gen Z workers they hired fresh out of college earlier this year.
This is Malaysia or
This is the US.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now 1 in 7 bosses have admitted they may avoid hiring them altogether next year. Now, the first reason they give is that Gen Z grads are unprepared and unprofessional. They lack motivation or initiative. 50% of the leaders surveyed cited that as the reason why things didn't quite work out. They struggle with the latest generations, leaders say they have struggled with the latest generation's tangible challenges, including being late to work and meetings often, not wearing office appropriate clothing, and using language appropriate for the workplace.
This meeting not bussin'.
And 20%, meanwhile, they say 20% say they can't handle
Stress.
the workload. So there's more to it, but that is the big one. It's the attitude, pretty much.
Yeah, but not gonna lie, I think Asian Gen Zs are better
Therefore,
compared to Americans.
Yeah.
therefore, bro, they're quite pro lah. I feel over here. It's just that I think you know how we were like the first kind of first generation to go into social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is our keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Yeah,
It's like
we are
you
the
see,
bridge, I guess. We are to consider the
But
bridge.
they are,
They're
I think,
digital natives,
yeah,
that's
but
the
they are like I was born in this, you know,
Yeah.
like
Hardcore.
this all I see, you know. So it's the nature of easy comparison, no.
Yeah.
Do we think that Gen Zs, according to that research, right, do we think that most Gen Zs are lazy? I actually don't think Gen Zs are
I don't
lazy.
think they're lazy, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think they have a very short attention span.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to be honest, I blame social media because of how fast and how
Yeah.
thorough news are being channeled through social media. Everything is through here. So people are just on to the next
Yeah.
one, on to the next thing.
Quite
Like,
lah.
next.
Quite. I see that pattern too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is like the biggest problem that Gen Z Malaysians have is that they're just asking for higher pay.
I think they have a very, to add on to Chess's point, they have a very short-term, high ROI mindset.
Yeah.
So I think thinking in ROI is what everyone does.
Yeah.
But there was a famous quote by a former CEO of Goldman Sachs. I cannot remember which one really. You don't want to be short-term greedy. You want to be long-term greedy.
Yeah.
And they are short-term greedy. Like they want the biggest amount right now. But by doing that, they don't actually develop skills, soft and hard, to be able to get that. That's why the gig economy is such a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
why like video editing, it's very fast. So I just learn and then that's it. Or any other skills like looking for trends on Shopee, right? Okay, maybe that's a bit more useful.
The drop
But
shipping stuff.
Yeah, drop shipping.
Affiliate marketing.
Correct.
So I wonder the reason why they are feeling that way is because they no longer thought or subscribe to the idea that, you study, go to university, get a good job. Because that's what our generation is. We've been taught that go to university, get a good job and you'll be okay. And some of us are actually like not doing too well, right? Because the world is just kind of messed up in a way right now. So I wonder if these Gen Z, the reason why they are acting and behaving that way because no one's preaching to them, or maybe they have learned the fact that there's no point in getting a degree and going to this job and working such a slow pace in terms of earning. So I was wondering if this whole Gen Z is now, 5 years later, once they are in our position, 5 to 8 years later, where they are adults like us and they are defining a whole new set of ideas of how things should run. And they are the ones that say, you know, back then, have I not quit and searched for this short-term gain, we would have not been here. You know, you guys get what I mean? You know, right now we're all saying like as if this is such a bad thing, but the whole generation, right, it's gonna find their own ways. I guess in a way, maybe it is our generation that create tough times. Yeah. And these people are now being really aggressive, just like, you know, having a mindset of a salesperson. I don't want to work in an office job. I want to go work in something that pay me immediately. Now, compared to just doing sales, today there's so many gig economy, so many of this kind of avenues for them to play. So I wonder, is it because right now they've not subscribed to the idea of like going to a job and, you know,
Committing.
you know? What do you guys think about that?
I find it, to some extent, I think it's 50% of what you say is true lah. But the other 50% also, I think there are some that still grind. It's just that, you know, I think people see negatives more. It's just easier to see when like someone quit rather than a guy commit lah. You know, like right now, my percentage wise of seeing lah is like 75 maintain, 25 chow. So far, 25% quit. So this is my statistic personally. And I don't really like, I interact with multiple organizations. So it's just hearsay. You know, I don't know what is their reason. It could be family, could be many things. So 75-25, there's some is quite odd. They just chow. Sometimes no reason. Sometimes they have a valid reason, but you can't tell lah, honestly, right? But majority still stay lah, and maybe that's what Gen X thought of us too lah. You know, Gen X is kind of like our koko, type of figure, right? Our bigger brother, bigger sister. And I think they had to put up with a lot of shit when we were in our early 20s. I was a dumbass, bro. Shout out to all my, you know, kokos out there. That one, my 20s, they really were very patient with me. I don't even know how to Google, bro. I'm like, how you do this? They're like, bro, you don't know how to Google.
Actually, that's true. Like even Excel.
Yeah.
I learned Excel very late in life. Like 20,
okay,
21.
fair enough. Yeah, I think I suddenly had a flashback of my first year in the Big Four, where my Excel was horrid. It was super bad. I remembered, right? You know, because when you have your own laptop, right? So you kind of like use your own shortcut keys and formula, right? I remember using my mouse to copy that.
Oh my God, Chester. Next to you, I'm like, Chester, what the fuck are you doing, Chester?
Exactly. I remember the seniors like, can you Control C, Control V?
Yeah.
It'll be faster, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alternate tab, bro. I learned alternate tab when I started working.
Yes.
My ex-boss looked at me like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't know this shortcut one? Then I like, I really don't know. They said, what they teach you in school? Jesus. Then you just fucking do it.
Alt tab, sorry, I don't get this.
Like
Alternate tab is to shift between windows.
Yes. So it's a godsend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you only have one screen.
Yeah. But I think I was a very difficult early 20s. So I can empathize, right? That's why I never really yell at my juniors. You can ask Nick, I got yell at anybody? No, right? I never yell. I always like very patient. I teach them one. Then my mom's like, what the fuck? You cannot just tell them off on. I'm like, Mom, doesn't work that way.
No, last
down.
I also think that the whole idea of what job loyalty, I think is gone because all the benefits have been taken up by boomers. We definitely need another
Not
podcast.
all. I feel right. Perhaps also, I forgot to say this earlier. Some Gen Z, they don't stay for the money. I don't know whether you encountered this.
Yeah,
they stay for the vibes.
Yeah.
Bro, they stay for the
It's
vibes.
not just Gen Z though. I have encountered people who are in the Gen Y, Gen Z.
They stay for the vibes. It's like, money is okay lah.
Yeah, I don't really care about the money. I just want a normal, non-toxic environment that I can work happily in.
Yeah. I had that, brand. Like my second job, wow, I tell you, the people there is like worth working for, bro. 3 a.m., they're all like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Yeah. And back to, sorry, just segue a bit. Back then when I was in the Big Four, right? I personally didn't mind doing 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning. It was because I had a team who were really committed and we had fun. We had fun doing it.
It's like you don't really, I mean, you see the timeline obviously, but it doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah, you know if you work with people like assholes, that will feel like an eternity.
You bond over it. It's like when we were saying about the whole having a better environment to work in. It's not just about the money. Money is I guess. Just we want to have a calm mind, a peaceful workplace.
Yeah, don't fight. You know, you want a sensei that kind of guides you without yelling at you.
Yeah.
When you find that, I think it's peachy, man. My ex-boss was pretty good. She never really yelled. I was like, wow. Best advice is if you laugh at your own copy, it's not good copy. I'm like, okay. Yeah. If you say something and it's funny, she's like, chances are it's not gonna work lah, John.
I think that Gen Zs have a lot more options as well.
Okay.
Now it's way more compared. Like last time, it's just what lawyer, engineer, doctor.
But I think their logic don't make sense. You know? Have you had this conversation with not just Gen Z lah, actually Gen Y also lah. Okay, you talk to them you're like, hey, they talk to you about salary, for example. Then they're like, oh, I want to do gaming. Then you're like, what type of gaming? Oh, I play CS or what League of Legends or whatever shit, right? They're like, hey, bro.
Valorant now.
They're like, hey, you know what? The champion get 2 mil. I'm like, bro. bro, sit down lah, bro. What the shit you thinking about, lah, son?
What's your rank, bro?
I don't know lah. This type of shit. When I hear that, I'm like, I cannot.
I think there are just so many ways to make money now, and a lot of ways are done in that work-life balance way. So that's what they are attracted to, but they forget, I think, that some people are lucky, one, two.
Yeah.
Some people are born with the
character
talent
and
and
the
the ability. And
Social media is like influencers really are putting that mental image for these Gen Z.
Not just that, like your friends also, ma. It's like, for example, 4 of us here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we all are friends on Instagram. Okay, so let's say Vincent goes on holiday. You scroll through, you say Vincent on holiday. The first 3 months, Vincent on holiday. Then Chester like, fuck it, I also want to go holiday. Then you see the next 3 months, you're like, hey, Chester also go holiday. Then next 3 months, MJ on holiday. Then for me, I'm like, hey, when the fuck is my holiday?
that's why I only post memes. I know the effect you can have on people. So I only post
It's
dark
like,
memes.
it's like when John posts Japan, I'm like, fuck.
I always know. I don't contribute, to the problem, I just...
It's the feeling lah, right? It's the FOMO, So for them, imagine if you're so stuck on it, you go on Instagram, you're like, fuck it, I don't want to see this shit anymore. You go TikTok, so you see people on travel. Then after that, it's a recurring pattern.
I also believe there's another thing, right? Which that Gen Z is, I won't say unique to them, but I think they have a bit more in abundance, which is, I think it's, some people say Gen Z and all these are going to be like the loneliest generation.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I've heard of
man.
that. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's one of the going.
Why?
I think it's definitely true.
Elaborate.
Because of social media.
Okay.
Because everybody's on their phones. It's not like our time where we had an era where screens weren't a thing.
Yeah.
We had you remember Streamix?
On the phone. It's streaming.
There should be a password,
Jarring,
bro.
Jarring,
Streamix.
Streamix.
Oh shit.
Right?
Yeah, I remember now.
I remember that
Right?
dying
When you
thing,
load a picture.
Can't even fat to porn lah, bro. The things won't load, bro.
140p, man.
Once there's a phone call coming down from downstairs, like, don't pick up.
Yeah, exactly, right. So so that's one. The second thing is I don't have exact stats to prove this, but my hunch, educated hunch, is they are more single child Gen Zs than they are single child Gen Ys or Gen X.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But because the general trend is that I think by Gen Z's time, they are already the population is shrinking already,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
There's so many people nowadays. Our age at least, they prefer not to have kids because it's
cost
so
of
much
living.
easier.
Yeah. So this.
And then even like
What's the name?
late boomers or Gen X, 1 or 2,
yeah.
right?
And I think also the way how the world works now, it's like you want to go dating. The first instance you get into is like Tinder, coffee meets bagel. You want to get a ride, you're just gonna order Grab, and you don't want to socialize. You could do a lot of things just through technology. Instead of meeting somebody, let's just do Zoom. So
Oh yeah. Traffic's bad. Fuck that. Let's FaceTime.
So a lot of them are like, coop up to themselves. And also it's like when you are Gen Z, when you're not being paid so much, everything around you is so expensive, especially with social media. You thought of going to this cafe, you thought of like hang out with your friends, but you're going to have to spend like 50 ringgit.
Yeah,
Compared back then, if we were 20s, we'd just be going to Mamak and Settle. McDonald's, which is only like what, 6 ringgit, 7 ringgit at a time.
Yeah.
But now it's like what, 18 ringgit if you want to eat double I am going, So there's so many reasons. Like I always hang out with I have a couple of Gen Z friends who used to be my students, right? All of them said, where got money to come out, man? I'd rather not come out. That's why a lot of them just play games
Oh yeah.
and just live that
true.
kind of lifestyle instead of going out.
So tough, bro.
Yeah, it's so tough.
Even if you cook at home, honestly, you want to buy ingredients, all that, right? Like, kind of hard, man. It's kind of tough.
Yeah. But I think with more issues, there are more tools also to solve it. Today, like one of the reasons why they can just quit like that is because they probably receive a lot more love and attention from their parents.
Oh,
Yeah,
what do you
because
mean?
just stats, right? If there's a lot of you, the parents can't really give you all the love and attention, and you add the fact that it's a more individualistic culture today. So that plus that means that's why they can, just to come full circle, even though, and of course, I think that is the implied message here when the older generation say that, oh, they don't like the pay, they just quit, right? Because we would never, a lot of us, and certainly those who are older would never say, well, I don't like pay, then I quit. You say, oh, but that's my rice bowl, I'm going to stick it out and I'm going to just suffer or whatever. Whereas a lot of Gen Zs, their parents are probably telling them, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
and just come back and it's okay. You still have a room and all that. So they just quit and wait until they find what they want. And of course, some of them do, and some of them are still waiting.
In fact, my dad himself has already told me to quit numerous times.
There you go.
Is it?
Yeah,
Exactly.
my friend is the same thing.
Yeah, and are you the only sibling?
Yeah, I'm the only child.
Okay. So you can probably half relate to what I'm saying.
Definitely.
Wow, my one very different.
I got a friend who's exactly the same thing. Actually, you're kind of living that life too, isn't it?
Really,
No, but your parents never said that, right? Did they say, hey, no, it's okay?
I came back from my first job. I was crying, bro. I broke down in front of my dad, mate. Then my dad was like, you don't cry on the carpet. Bro, brutal, mate. Then only my mom was like, if you got tahan, then what you stay? You coming back every day 3, 4 a.m. I mean, once in a while, okay, you have to work hard, do your pussy. But if 2 months you come back 3, 4 a.m., then what's the point? What are you doing? What are you really doing? I'm like, doing PowerPoint. For what? What PowerPoint is 2 months?
You ChatGPT.
That time don't have right? Yeah.
So I think a lot of us Gen Ys, right, in our 20s when we have all these problems, how it turned out for us is that eventually we became like the working force of most of the economy. And we're now in this somewhat of a comfortable position where we're managers and maybe general managers or whatever, VPs maybe. But for these Gen Zs, right, do you think they will now create an economy where they are full of small little entrepreneurs because they are like, screw it, I don't want to work in a job. I'm just going to work in all this gig economy. And eventually them maturing and finding their way and then creating like so many different types of unique businesses. And that's how that generation will be defined.
The honest answer is I don't know. But because I think I don't know whether you all saw the huge layoff by TikTok also, the content moderation.
Yeah.
So that's another job like Grab like that, right? It's easy, whatever.
Yeah. So I think so when I look at Gen Z as a whole, when they enter the workforce, they want easy and high pay, but they forget that with high pay and easy comes with high risk.
Yeah.
Are you talented enough for high pay, easy, and you got time?
But they're young, so they don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they are aware of that high pay. What is it supposed to do?
I agree with that. But if you explain it to them, I think there'll be a handful who'll be like, yeah, you're right. And then there'll be another group that
Stubborn.
they don't care. Like, no, I'm
Just in
just fine.
denial, I would say. They're just really being in denial.
Yeah.
But I think 50-50 but I don't know what the economy will grow into bro. That's the conclusion I have. I don't know what it's going to be because I feel like every year they have these quote and unquote mass layoffs. I think Microsoft had it, Maxis had it, TikTok had it, Shopee had it, and then it feels like it's a big deal.
Yeah. I saw this thread today. It's very interesting. It's called the erosion of information half-life. Okay, so what it means is, the half-life is basically how long it takes for something to decay to half its life.
Okay.
is used in nuclear physics, but here what it means is throughout time, right, the information that we have, the speed at which it half its importance is rapidly increasing. So case study is, for thousands of years, if you knew how to ride a horse, you would know your way around transport for thousands of years.
I get it.
So then now, if you look at, say, cars, it's only 100 over years old, but then you are seeing EVs coming in.
Yeah.
So you see how it shortens. So this is just for transport, but in almost any domain, things are moving so fast, right? Whether it's marketing, whether it's even finance or everything is moving so fast that what you learn, and then suddenly you grab it and it gets updated very, very quickly. So that's kind of linked to what you're saying.
I don't know. You don't know. It's too fast,
right? But whereas our parent generation or earlier,
they have a bit of
world.
The
world is more predictable, right? The bank I'm working at is going to be here in 50 years, but who knows whether banks will still be around. Like my dad was very lucky. He worked in a department that didn't need. The minute he retired, they shut down the department.
That's Matrix Keanu Reeves dodging, bro.
Yeah, because it was an aspect of the bank that could be digitized that other banks had already digitized. But my dad rode the wave of that department for 30, 40 years. And the minute he quit, the high up say, okay, now Mr. Gunn is leaving. Let's just stop the department. And they kept it around because my dad was doing a good job. And they're like, you know what, people are used to the system, so we're just there. So my dad left. They took an opportunity, okay, time to change.
It's so hard to say, bro.
So my dad could have that visibility. But whoever replaces him, if there's any replacing to do, won't have the same visibility.
It's true.
Nowadays, I think when you get into a department, so I don't even know whether your department's going to last a year, bro.
Yeah, man.
Really, man. Like, fuck.
Because now currently I'm working in the bank as well. So a lot of talks are going on about the new AI that is being implemented.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are a bit skeptical with this AI that people they are rolling out to see whether can it equal to our workforce.
I
They
think
work
credit
for free.
assessment, for example, in banks, soon they can use like, I don't know if you all know Aeon Credit. Have you heard of it? Those people buy-
Of course.
Do you know they have like a KPI to get loans approved in 30 minutes?
What?
Yeah.
30 minutes?
Huh?
Yeah.
And they're shortening it as the day goes by. You just go to a kiosk or whatever, upload your documents, 30 minutes done. Here's the money for your motorbike.
No.
Now for onboarding, as in like you want to open an account, right? You just need 30 minutes. Done.
Yeah.
Thumbprint, IC.
Last time you need
Done.
teller lah, you need
Fucker, you need half
analyze
day, bro.
This lah, that.
They'll just give you the iPad. Please follow the instructions. Your put in your end and your thumbprint. Your IC.
But
and
that's
thumbprint.
account opening, you know. That one is mainly KYC.
Yeah.
This one is
Loan.
you know, credit
Yeah, okay.
assessment.
Okay,
no.
fair enough. Yeah.
So a lot of like in your field, I mean, I don't know what department you're in, but I would imagine people analyzing all the credit. Last time it was always a very human thing, right? Like
Whether
they
you
would-
pay
they'll
or-
see your face and then they have certain criterias. And that was the complaint about banks also because at the beginning, literally people would give loans based on like, wow, I see your face. Here,
Where they
here.
stay, the address.
Where they stay, what I hear.
Personal storytelling.
Yeah, like a former colleague of mine, right? He just because he worked at Shell, the person gave him a loan that is like more than 70% of his income. So, tak apa, Shell boleh. So that was back then. And then slowly it became like criterias and
You have to
reams
have-
and reams of
you have
papers.
to have guarantors. You have to have assets to secure.
Yeah,
as
to
a-
get-
Exactly, guarantors. Then you already have okay, anyway, I'm not going into it.
Yeah,
So then people are thinking, wait, all these are all like pre-made criterias with only on the margin certain cases that are maybe a bit different. Use AI lah.
Auto.
Yeah, just all this can be
I'm also
automated.
surprised.
I just want to say, right, that the new AI, Apple Intelligence on iPhone, I tried asking it, right, to find the photos I took last year on this date. It made a Bing search, bro. So just know that maybe your job is still safe for another year.
For now, yes.
Just for now.
But,
yeah.
but that's the nature of AI. AI is about banging the wall. It's like you just keep doing it like
ever evolving.
1,000, millions of iterations, then eventually they get it right.
Yeah.
And
and,
because,
and
yeah.
that happens really quickly, you know. That
So
kind
this
of
is what I guess Gen Zs and eventually Gen Alpha are coming up, and to us as well, what we are coming up against, right?
The reason why I made that point in the first place was because as I was training all these Gen Z people, right, it's also part of the government program where we try to give them a chance to increase, help them with employment, getting a job. So they will have their resumes prepared. And most of their resumes, right, always have this one extracurricular that is a side project, selling something that has a little bit more of a tangible results compared to our generation, where we write something in our resume, right? What is that something extra that we do? It's more like a passion project that doesn't really have any sort of tangible results, you know, like somebody buying from you or you have 5,000 people subscribing to you, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's why I was wondering that maybe this Gen Zs is now building up to this generation is going to be a bit more tenacious and even independent, that they don't have to rely on other things.
It's possible, but it's also possible I think they might give up, man.
I half agree with you, and I think to your point, right? There's this thing in like markets, right? They called it a K-shaped recovery. So a lot of people are predicting after COVID, how would the economy recover? People are saying, no, it's going to be a V, you know, it's going to be a
bounce.
inverse V, right? It's going to go up and then it's
Wait,
going down.
inverse V, Jesus.
U-shape.
Crash,
U-shape.
Yeah, a U-shape, N shape.
yeah.
Was it a V-shape or U-shape?
Oh my God.
Right? V-shape means it's a sharp bounce. U will be like, like that, right?
Yeah.
So actually, I think you'll be a K-shape. So that means there'll be a group of people
Oh wow, that's
who will do very
interesting.
well. There will be a big chunk that will do badly. And the reason I came to that conclusion is because that's precisely how every single generation has operated. There'll be winners and there'll be losers. That's as simple as that. And for me, if I'm a Gen Z or Gen Alpha, I would be asking myself, okay, what are the things that work in every generation? And then I position myself. So for example, very basic things like improving people's life. It sounds like it's from kindergarten, right? But literally, if you position yourself to improve people's life, make things more convenient for people, or get it to them cheaper, something like that. I just don't know how you can mess up if you don't think like that, because that has been true regardless of what generation, our generation before that.
Making it easier.
I mean, that's like what business is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
So if what you're doing now, like I know all of us are like bogged down with the day-to-day and details of what you're doing, but if you just step out and ask yourself, okay, is what I'm doing actually improving other people's life? And that's I think one mindset shift that a lot of Gen Zs need to make, and even our generation or whatnot, is it's not what's in it for you, it's like what's in it for the other person. And are you improving that fellow's life? Once you do that at mass, then you can demand whatever you want. Like someone say about Elon Musk, right? He's paid what the world owes him because of what he has created. I think there was this quote. He created so many different things. He gave people what they could not imagine.
The solution. It's a solution.
And that's why the world owes him. And that is why he's the richest man in the world. That's it. Right? So that's like one extreme. Nobody's asking you to be Elon Musk, right?
Wait, so I got a question, like the K thing, right? The K curve or what? K graph.
K
So for our generation, who are the ones that are, who are the losers? Like, how do they look?
Okay,
like?
so
And do we know them?
So do you all know?
we are definitely the high K.
So
we are sitting here with high K.
If you know some mathematics, right? You know that even 1 degree of an angle, if you stretch out long enough, the differences between the points will be very far.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we are all of us maybe 10 years after graduation, right? Average. Yeah. So we are, I don't know if you notice, you are starting to see, whether it's in your friend group or your relative, and that, you're starting to see a gap between. Let's say you know a friend who had like 3-4 siblings. Then you start to notice, one sibling is doing so much better than the other.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it could be your own, right? With your own brother or your own sister or whatever. You're starting to see a difference, but not so big yet. But if you look at, let's say, and our parents' generation is quite a good case study, because they typically had a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of...
It's pretty obvious, yeah.
It's very obvious. If
Very
let's say you
obvious.
got 6, 7 uncle, one uncle so rich, then one is jealous of the other one, and one is a
Super
chill.
common.
One's a chill guy. Is the life of the party, and then you start to see the gap.
Yeah.
But you don't see that right now because time hasn't passed long enough.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
Degree hasn't-
really interesting.
That's why small change. You think it's 1 degree only. You think that your brother is only 10 IQ points higher than you, but this actually translate
To long term.
to incredibly long term differences.
Oh, that's
Big
really
differences.
interesting.
So like small things that if you're Gen Z now, you're early in your career, the small things in that sense matter. It's not the money and all of that. Even the money you save also. You follow with 10,000 and other follow without that 10,000, you think it's just 10,000.
But then,
But that steamrolls into a big difference over time.
Our compounding interest, guys.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that's where we are. And that's why it's hard for people to see. Because, again, going back to that short-term ROI mindset, it's like the ROI part is great. Like all of us should think that way, right? Everybody wants to get more for less. That's why we have electricity, right? We have petroleum, right? The energy usage is so high. But it's a bit about long-term greedy. So like you have to think like, okay, what should I be doing today that like long time from now it can be good? And I think the way to do that is to go back 20, 30 years ago and ask themselves, what were people who did it and succeed back then? What were they doing that like had this
damn hard,
compound?
man.
And I think that's where you get clues lah. I'm not saying you get the answer, but you get clues that way. So yeah, that's a bit to your point about the K-shape. That's what I think people don't realize, and it's not nice to know this.
Yeah.
We want an I shape, right? Or like this,
Yeah.
all the way up only. But reality is that you will start to see, and it's very hard to swallow that, because whichever side you're on, because then you're like, let's say you have a bro, and you guys were super tight, and then in 30 years time you're like, man, this guy is like, his life is a mess. Or if in reverse, that you are looking up now, it's like, man, the time has passed, and how is this guy so much ahead? I used to be like,
It's pretty scary actually hearing this, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know what the future is going to be,
don't
but
know.
you just hope that you don't end up
It
to
could
be the
flip
losing
fast
end.
too, man. It could flip fast too. But from what I see, I think we are mostly up curve lah. I mean, because we hang out at the same group, so it's like most of us are heading up. And I've seen people go down because, you know, when you work in like mass consumer type of events and shit, we definitely upper K lah, bro.
Yeah,
Don't
you're
worry, you upper K.
you're right, because recently they interviewed like students, asked them what's the right salary. All of them say 3.5. I'm like, how do you even survive?
No, they can survive, but there's some is like really like them I know like women cannot afford groceries after go there and then cannot pay, and then like I use my last 50 ringgit for Grab here. I'm like, how do you?
I mean, like, I can imagine people will
bro.
go turn 30 minutes to avoid parking inside the mall for 15 ringgit.
It's quite mad, man, bro. I'm telling you, we upper K, confirm. Don't worry.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
I
Right?
just said in bewilderment.
I have never heard of this shit.
It's a lot, man.
Wow, there's a lot to take
sure.
in.
Yeah,
It's
a lot, man.
tough, even for us, because soon we will see a separation.
But I think we all quite privileged lah. You all go. I think you go slum area quite bad one.
Yeah. So there's your bubble, and then there's the outside bubble. So there's a K there. But what I'm saying is,
In your bubble got K.
within your bubble, there's a K as well.
Yeah, there is.
Yes, that's why income inequality, like let's say China, right? The problem, a lot of people say they have income inequality, which is true. But the big problem is not between like the tier 1 cities and the tier 3 cities. It's inside the tier 1 city. And in India is the same thing. It's like slums and crap, and then
Top tier building costs 50 mil. That one, right? That apartment, the guy owned the whole building.
Is the income is the difference between cities and intercity difference, and it's similar with our lives. So it's not just, if anything, right? There's actually not much of a problem. Like if you're a poor guy, right, and you look at, let's say you live in a poor state in Malaysia, right? Like what's the poor state? Kelantan, Terengganu. Then you look at KL, you don't actually envy that much. That's not really an issue.
Yeah.
The issue is when people within your same kampong, one fella got 2 acres of land, you got half an acre. That one hurts more than the property rental in KLCC that this guy owns. That I don't know. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's your own bubble that you feel more lah. Definitely. But then you can always go to humble town. Go to a really chaplang place, you like, fuck man, actually
I feel better.
Yeah, my Kai Fan is pretty good lah. You want to feel shit, then you go to a rich area lah.
Yeah.
Where would you classify it? Okay, never mind. This is kind of
But yeah, guys, I think that we can wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure.
We sort of like slightly diverted.
Yeah.
But I think any Gen Zs hearing this, just so you know that every generation thinks of themselves superior to the previous and the one after that.
Really? Do you think
Every generation say there's always I can show you the link later. Every single generation go back all the way, and the beginning of time say that the newest generation is soft. Everyone so said it. There's without fail. They are soft. Are they getting to what? They're too.
I saw the
too
newspaper.
loose. Newspaper.
Yeah, they were like
hundreds of years.
people reading newspaper in train. They have forgotten to socialize or
in
something.
the ancient world, people on tablets were writing it already. So, so like, don't take it too hard from those older than you, but also for yourself, remember that everyone has that tendency to like make your generation's problems the biggest, and it cannot be solved, and no one, my problems are bigger than yours. Once you think that way, then then I think
I have a lot of experiences teaching the younger generation, right? Gen Alpha,
yeah.
And every time I see all this like young kids,
TPD generation, right?
I always feel like actually these people are so much more smarter than who when we were kids, you know.
Yeah.
So I think all is good. I always feel that the next generation is always gonna find their way. They're definitely more smarter than us compared to.
How about you want to if you want to compare back then in our generation, right? We don't have much updated news.
Yeah, man, you gotta go Kamus day one, bro.
Exactly.
Ridiculous. You go to library, you want to find a reference, bro. What
For me, I
stupid
just
shit is
open
that?
Now just open my phone and just like what Google, what is that shit now?
Yeah, you can even use your voice.
Yeah.
But Perplexity gives you the source now.
Yeah.
It's even nicer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, I think you can wrap it up.
Yeah. All right. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Actually, got a shout out. The subscribership went up like mad. I think it went up like 200 plus subscribers.
I think it's because of the budget 2025.
Oh, is
video. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was like 4.9 for the longest time. Now
But
it's
I
like
think
5.
it's also HY and Comrade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Comrade is 200 over. Man.
Our fine man. Our fine man. All right. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. But if you haven't, I think now it was like 58%. Now it's 55% who watch this don't subscribe. So if you're one of that 55%,
nice.
please lower that number to 50 at least. Let's go.